Keep the questions coming in for Nicola Adams. We're talking to her after 10. But not content with leaving the boxing to Nicola, we thought that we'd get the politicians involved, as we're better to let them fight it out in front of voters than in a ring. Watch how 4 of the parties landed their punches and see what they chose to swerve. This report's by Noel Phillips.
The countdown to election day is underway. With just weeks to go, parliamentary candidates are fighting to convince undecided voters their party has what it takes to lead the country.
You're punching harder, pack it in!
I'm fighting for the Labour Party to persuade people to vote Labour.
Why?
Because it will be, in my view, better for the country than letting the Conservatives carry on with the policies they've been deploying for the past 7 years.
Economic stability, no matter what any of the other parties tell you, it's all fantasy because they have no idea how to run our economy. You can say you're going to spend money in NHS and education, but if you crash your economy, it simply won't happen.
That referendum was built on lies and deceit. And although some people knew what they were voting for, some didn't.
I'm fighting to try and get a different voice into the House of Parliament to hold the current government to account on Brexit and to get some different thinking and not just have the main 3 parties dominating politics on every single issue.
Since being crowned heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua has become the global face of boxing, and the popularity of the sport has never been greater. So we've brought together 4 parliamentary candidates to throw some jabs in this boxing ring. Watching them is an expert and 2 undecided voters, Ishmael and Natalie, who say they still don't know who they want to vote for.
They want my vote. They need to get in the ring, talk the talk and let me see, OK, I'm going to vote for you.
We're used to politicians running around in circles and telling lies, so we want to actually see politicians actually stand for something today and say what they want to say in order to win our votes.
The majority of these candidates have no experience inside the ring, but the opportunity to show that politicians can pack a punch was one that they couldn't resist. In the red corner, hoping to land a punch for his party, is the former Labour MP and Government Minister Jim Fitzpatrick. For UKIP, it's Daniel Wolfe, who is on a mission to prove that his party is still an electoral force. In the blue corner is Sean Bailey, former Downing Street advisor to David Cameron, and on a campaign to overturn the status quo for the Liberal Democrat, it's Keith Angus.
With the big majority Theresa May's got in Parliament and the big majority for triggering Article 50, why did she call an election?
Because the British people want a chance to express their views on Brexit, and this is how they get it done.
They did that in 2015.
No, they've got another chance now. She'll get a big majority to get through what she needs to get done for the best deal for Britain.
And they did it in 2016.
No, they did it again.
So we're going to have another election next year.
So with the state of the economy and Corbyn having absolutely no plans how to run our finances, how do you expect to support public services?
Theresa May, you know, she's calling this election to try and gain more power and to try and bring Brexit through. But she's a Remain MP. She said she was, and you can't just change your spots just for political gain.
But if she wants to give people a say, why isn't she going to give them a say on the outcome of the referendum, on the Brexit deal?
Because she gave them a say in the referendum and they know what they were voting for.
They didn't vote for a hard, divisive Brexit,
to the public
Sean.
Don't know what they're talking about is quite offensive.
They didn't vote for a hard Brexit.
But let's remind everyone how we got to the referendum. It was our party that pushed for the referendum, and we wouldn't be in this situation at all if it wasn't for the courage of our party in 23 years of campaigning.
Most people say the referendum was last year. They want to know about why is £3 billion being wiped off the education budget? Why is the health service on its knees? Why have we lost 20,000 police officers? What are you offering the British people domestically? Forget Brexit, that's done and dusted.
We're offering economic stability. All of Labour's plans to spend on public services are a fantasy. So we're supporting young people.
How are you supporting young people by increasing tuition fees?
1.8 million people.
£9,000 for tuition fees? Who can afford that?
1.8 million children go to a better school than under Labour government. It was the Labour government.
£3 billion has been wiped off the education budget. Schools across the country are losing money.
So why are you destroying young people's future by pulling us out of the European Union with the hardest, most divisive form of Brexit?
There's no such thing as a hard Brexit. People knew what they're voting for. and they'll
such
get
thing
it.
as a hard Brexit.
No, people
so
knew
why
their
was it bandied around by the Prime Minister herself? I'm sorry.
It was never bandied about Prime Minister. And for UKIP, the most irrelevant political party in the history of everything, to say that to me is incredible.
So we're the most relevant party. All right, if we didn't exist, we would not be having this referendum. Now you might turn around and say, excuse me, you might turn around and say UKIP doesn't have a mandate anymore. But I'll turn around and say this: until the ink is dry on the paper, until we are actually out of the European Union, we need to have people holding the government to account.
People want to know what's going to happen to their public services. UKIP voters have got the choice of supporting more cuts to public services or supporting the protection of public services. Because the UKIP vote is collapsing.
Say, what about Corbyn and the droves of Labour supporters that are actually on the fence and going, do you know what, I might vote UKIP because as a party for working people, we can't vote Conservatives.
Do you think young kids care about this stuff?
Yes, they do, because it's the services that A, they'll be working for, and B, that serve them as well.
Do you think they care about their future, or a home they've got to live in, or getting a job?
Education and tuition fees in university. And both you guys in this ring right now, you put a massive U-turn. You said you weren't going to raise tuition fees, and you did. Yeah, you raised
70% of kids from disadvantaged backgrounds.
I had to pay £9,000, right, to go to university. The students that I educated have to pay £30,000.
They don't have to pay a penny until they earn 21k.
If you want to get people, if you want to get doctors and nurses into the NHS, if you want to train homegrown talent...
Yeah, maybe welcome them from the European Union in telling them that they're not welcome.
I'm sorry, you need...
Recruitment is in a crisis in the NHS because EU workers will not come here now. Why is that? You proud of that? You proud of that achievement?
We should not be poaching talent from other countries. We should be growing our own before taking it from other places in the world.
7 years you've been in power, 7 years.
And 13
and the health service is in crisis every single year since you've been in power.
When the last Labour government left power, you left a note telling the country that you'd spent all the money and that we were broke.
Yeah, you're punching harder. You're punching harder.
The Conservative government that has rebuilt our finances as a nation. None of what you're saying, you all the Lib Dems make any difference.
You're punching harder?
Because your industrial policy, your economic policy are fantasy figures that will drive us into the ground, and it doesn't matter what you want, you cannot pay for it if you don't run the economy properly.
You can't answer the question, Sean, that after 7 years in power, there's £3 billion coming out of education. Tuition fees are at 9,000 and rising. The health service is on its knees, and the emergency services, ambulance, police and fire brigade, have been cut to ribbons.
Time's up. The candidates have had their say, but it's not about them. It's about voters like Natalie and Ismail, who have yet to make up their minds.
I do feel like politicians are perceived to be quite rigid and quite formal, but I feel this discussion was really open and it did have a lot of opinions there, so that was interesting to see them going head to head and fighting for our vote.
Seeing them in the ring, individually, literally fighting out for their own policies and what they believe in and what they think they can bring to the party and why I should vote for them. I think it made it more accessible.
So why do so many people across the country feel so alienated by politics? Rachel Farrington runs a website encouraging young people to vote.
Even if you don't agree with any of the parties, you should still go out and spoil your ballot or blank vote, because it shows that you're engaged and you're there for your vote to be won. But politicians just have to change a little if they want to win it. If you just stay at home, you just become another figure.
If these four can agree on anything, it's this. It's your choice, of course, whether to vote or not. But just remember, if you're not registered before May the 22nd, you can't.
A bit timid, some of those punches, weren't they? But it is hard to talk and box, I suppose. That was Noel Phillips reporting. You can share that film from our programme page, bbc.co.uk/Victoria.